What if the quietest visitor to ever cross our solar system was not just a frozen relic of another star, but a silent messenger from an intelligence far older than our world? Imagine, for a moment, a lonely traveler drifting through interstellar space for millions upon millions of years. It carries no banners, no signals, no dramatic announcements of its arrival. Instead, it slips almost unnoticed into our skies, cloaked in stillness, as if determined to be seen only by those who are watching carefully. This traveler is known as 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object to pass through the neighborhood of our sun. But tonight, in this gentle exploration, we will dare to ask, what if it is more than stone and ice? What if it is the whisper of another civilization, hiding in plain sight? Picture a wide night sky, stretched above silent deserts and high mountain observatories. In the thin air of the Andes, cameras sweep the heavens, their lenses searching for faint movements against the eternal backdrop of stars. Most nights, what they find are the usual suspects: near-Earth asteroids, ordinary comets, predictable cosmic debris. But then comes a shimmer that does not belong. A point of light moving too quickly, bending in ways that mark it as foreign, as unbound. At first, the discovery is noted with routine precision. Coordinates are logged, brightness measured, algorithms confirm the anomaly. Yet as the data accumulates, something begins to feel uncanny. This is not one of us. This is something from beyond. Now let us stretch our imaginations further. Suppose that 3I Atlas is not merely a fragment of some distant collision, but an artifact, a construct designed to glide unnoticed between the stars. The silence is its camouflage. The strangeness is not accident, but intention. For in a universe where civilizations may fear each other's gaze, silence is the ultimate survival strategy. Could it be that what we are seeing is not just natural chemistry, but the careful disguise of technology? A machine older than our histories, choosing to reveal only what will puzzle and not what will confirm. As you listen tonight, let your breathing slow. Let your eyes grow heavy. This is not a tale of panic or alarm, but of wonder. The wonder of asking questions too large for easy answers. The wonder of considering that we may not be alone. In the vast stillness of interstellar space, what else might be drifting, unseen? And if 3I Atlas truly carries secrets not of geology but of intention, what does that mean for us, here on our fragile blue world? So I invite you now to drift with me into this mystery. We will wander carefully, like explorers moving through a dark forest, quiet and observant. We will ask what 3I Atlas might be, where it may have come from, and why it hides behind silence. And as we do, may the questions themselves become a lullaby, carrying you gently towards sleep. What if the cosmos itself is not empty, but alive with watchers who prefer shadows over light? Imagine a civilization that has endured long enough to learn the most difficult lesson of survival, that silence is safety. In such a universe, any signal could be a flare in the darkness, revealing your presence to unknown powers. So instead of shouting across the stars, these beings would send silent messengers, drifting probes that carry knowledge without ever revealing the hand that launched them. When astronomers first noticed 3I Atlas in the summer skies, they did not know what they were looking at. They only saw a dim light shifting across their instruments. But what if this faint wanderer is one of those quiet messengers, watching us as we watch it? Close your eyes for a moment and picture the vast ocean of space. The darkness is endless, yet not silent. Stars flicker like distant fires. Galaxies swirl like great storms. Somewhere in this immensity, far beyond the reach of our imagination, a fragment is torn from its home system and set upon a journey that spans epochs. It drifts alone, crossing gulfs so wide that light itself takes millennia to bridge them. And then, without warning, this fragment enters our solar system, sliding past the orbits of the outer planets, carrying secrets we can only begin to guess. To us, it is a visitor, but to those who may have built it, It is an envoy, carrying out a mission written long before our species first walked upon the Earth. Think of the strange coincidences that make this discovery so haunting. Out of all the possible directions, 3I Atlas follows a path that brings it near planets we call home. Out of all the countless comets, its chemistry resists easy explanation. Out of all the possible times, it arrives when our instruments are finally sharp enough to notice. Could this be chance? Perhaps. Or could it be intention? The thought lingers like a whisper in the night, a suggestion too delicate to dismiss. Now let us slow down. Feel the rhythm of your breath as the story unfolds. The night sky becomes a dome of mystery above us. The Earth turns silently beneath. In observatories scattered across mountains and islands, astronomers lean closer to their glowing screens, adjusting telescopes with quiet reverence. They know they are watching something rare, something that may never return. Yet they cannot quite explain what they see. Numbers do not line up. Brightness fluctuates in ways no comet should. Patterns emerge, then vanish again. And in that uncertainty, a door opens for imagination. Could the unknown be a deliberate mask? Could the silence itself be a message? As you drift deeper into this thought, let your mind wander with the object itself. Imagine riding alongside it, gliding past the cold orbits of Jupiter and Saturn, slipping inward toward the warmth of the sun. You would feel no engines, no hum of machinery, only the steady pull of gravity. And yet, within the structure of this traveler, there might be design, an ancient architecture concealed beneath layers of ice and rock. Perhaps its builders wanted it to appear ordinary, to escape notice. Or perhaps they wanted just enough strangeness to make us wonder. The universe often whispers in riddles. And tonight we listen. We listen not for answers, but for questions that expand the horizon of our dreams. 3I Atlas is here for only a brief moment in cosmic time, a passing shadow across the sky. But in that moment, it invites us to imagine that we are not alone, that others have crossed this forest of stars before us. And if they have, perhaps they still are. Welcome, dear dreamers, to this quiet corner of the universe where science becomes a lullaby and mysteries unfold as softly as the turning of the Earth itself. This is a place where the cold equations of astronomy transform into gentle stories designed not to alarm, but to soothe. Tonight, we are exploring the enigma of 3I Atlas, a visitor from beyond the stars, and the possibility that hidden within its silence lies the faint trace of another intelligence. My role is simple: to be your guide through this nocturnal journey, to lead you gently into the questions that stir our imagination without ever disturbing your rest. If these explorations bring you comfort, if they help your thoughts float more calmly across the night, it would mean a great deal if you chose to linger with us. A quiet gesture, a kind like, or a soft subscription helps this community of curious dreamers continue to grow. Together, we form a constellation of listeners scattered across the globe, each of us connected by the wonder of the stars. And I would love to know where you are listening from tonight. Are you resting in a quiet bedroom as rain taps softly at the window? Are you drifting off beneath desert skies where the Milky Way spills its light across the horizon? Or perhaps you are in a city that never truly sleeps, yet still finds peace in this gentle exploration. Tell me, if you wish, what time it is where you are, and whether you have ever dreamed of discovering something so strange it changed the way you thought about the universe. I treasure these glimpses into your world, because in this vast cosmos, our shared curiosity becomes the bridge that connects us. So let us move onward together, deeper into the silence of space. Ahead lies the story of how this mysterious traveler was first discovered, the telescopes that caught its faint shimmer, and the scientists who realized they had glimpsed something that did not belong to our solar system. As we follow their path, we will see not only the facts of astronomy, but also the quiet wonder of human discovery. Welcome once again, gentle travelers of the night. This channel was born from a simple idea: that even the greatest mysteries of the universe can be shared in a way that comforts rather than unsettles, that lulls rather than alarms. Each evening, we take the threads of science, history, and imagination and weave them into a soft fabric of storytelling. A fabric strong enough to hold cosmic wonders, yet gentle enough to cradle you as you drift towards sleep. If you find these quiet explorations easing your thoughts, I invite you to become part of our constellation of dreamers. A constellation is made of many stars, each glowing faintly, but together they draw shapes across the sky. In the same way, each listener adds light to this community. By leaving a kind like, by subscribing softly, or by sharing your reflections, you help these stories continue their journey across the world. And because this channel is not just a voice, but a gathering of souls under one sky, I cherish knowing more about you. Tell me in the comments, where are you listening tonight? Perhaps you are in Vietnam, where the night air carries the scent of warm earth and water. Perhaps you are in America, where city lights dim the stars, yet your imagination still travels freely beyond the horizon. Or perhaps you are somewhere else entirely, a quiet village, a mountain town, or even a ship at sea. What time is it in your corner of this turning world? Do you hear the hum of traffic, the sigh of the wind, the song of insects, or the simple hush of silence? I also wonder, have you ever dreamed of something so unusual that you awoke still thinking of it? A dream of standing on the surface of another planet, or watching lights drift across the sky that were not airplanes or satellites, but something stranger? Dreams remind us that the boundary between reality and imagination is soft, like the thin line between night and morning. In this space between certainty and wonder, we find room for stories like the one we share tonight. So as you rest here, know that you are part of a growing circle of listeners, students, dreamers, scientists, wanderers, each of us united by curiosity and the gentle search for meaning in the stars. No matter how far apart we are in miles or hours, when we listen together, we stand beneath the same sky. That thought alone is enough to ease the heart and settle the mind. And now, with your breath steady and your thoughts quieter, let us turn to the beginning of the story itself. Let us step into the observatories and control rooms where the first faint traces of 3I Atlas appeared, almost invisible, almost overlooked. Let us meet the patient eyes and careful instruments that recognized a stranger entering our neighborhood from the endless night beyond. The story of 3I Atlas begins, as so many astronomical tales do, not with thunder or spectacle, but with quiet patience. Imagine a cold night in the high mountains of Chile, where observatories cling to ridgelines like lanterns placed against the darkness. The air is thin there, sharp and clear, carrying little moisture to cloud the gaze of telescopes that must peer far into the universe. Each evening, automated systems sweep across the sky, capturing millions of points of light, each one a fragment of eternity frozen in time. On one such night, as the world below slept unaware, a faint shimmer appeared on the screens of astronomers. It was not dramatic, not a blazing comet tail stretching across the heavens, nor the sudden flare of a nova bursting into life. Instead, it was a modest point of light that shifted slightly against the backdrop of stars. To the human eye, it might have seemed like nothing at all. To the sensitive algorithms trained to notice even the smallest changes, it was the beginning of a puzzle. The program flagged the anomaly. Numbers appeared in columns, positions, and velocities compared against known catalogs of asteroids and comets. At first, there was no reason for excitement. Most nights produce such detections, objects that belong to our solar system, orbiting the sun in predictable patterns. But when scientists traced the arc of this new light backward and forward through time, the mathematics refused to behave. The trajectory was not elliptical, not bound to our sun. It was hyperbolic, a curve that declared, "I do not belong here. I have come from elsewhere, and when I leave, I will not return." This realization spread quietly among the observers, like a whisper passed from one watchful pair of eyes to another. They had seen something rare, something that could not be explained by the ordinary choreography of our planetary neighborhood. Only twice before in human history had astronomers confirmed such an interstellar visitor. Now here was a third, sliding silently into our skies. Picture the moment. A small team in a control room, their monitors glowing in the darkness. Outside, the telescopes continue their mechanical sweep, unaware of the human wonder their data has inspired. One astronomer leans back in his chair, blinking slowly as he rereads the numbers. Another whispers softly, "This cannot be right." Yet the calculations hold steady, repeating their message with each pass. This object is not ours. It comes from the gulf between stars. Even as they confirm this truth, a deeper mystery stirs. For in addition to its strange path, the object behaves in ways that seem wrong. Its brightness flickers irregularly, as if something beneath its surface shifts or hides. This chemistry, faintly revealed in early spectra, does not align with expectations. But these questions will come later. In this first moment, there is only the recognition that a cosmic stranger has arrived. As you imagine this discovery, let your breathing slow, as steady as the turning of the earth beneath those Chilean mountains. Feel the patience of the astronomers, the quiet hum of their instruments, the stillness of the night air. Nothing explodes, nothing cries out. And yet, in the silence, history changes. For once again, humanity is reminded that we are not the only travelers in this cosmic sea. And so, with a faint shimmer on a screen and a curve drawn by mathematics, the story of 3I Atlas begins. Once the first whisper of discovery had reached the scientists who monitored the night sky, a new phase began: confirmation. In astronomy, no single detection is ever enough. A faint shimmer may be the echo of an error, the result of faulty calibration, or the trick of atmospheric distortion. And so, after that initial glimpse of 3I Atlas, the responsibility fell to teams scattered across the world to test, to remeasure, and to confirm whether this was indeed something extraordinary. Across oceans and continents, word spread quietly from one observatory to another. A telescope in Hawaii pointed its mirror skyward, searching for the same moving light. Hours later, an observatory in Spain reported that it too had traced the faint arc across its images. The positions matched, the velocity matched, the trajectory matched. Each confirmation was like a voice joining a chorus, the quiet harmony of instruments agreeing on a single truth. This was no ordinary body bound to the sun. The mathematics grew clearer with each measurement. 3I Atlas was moving too fast, its path curving too widely. It was not looping back in an ellipse, but cutting across our solar system on a hyperbolic track, destined to continue outward toward the stars. Its speed, its direction, its refusal to bend into familiar orbits, all confirmed that this was an interstellar visitor. The third such visitor ever confirmed by humankind. For the astronomers, the moment was both thrilling and unsettling. They had seen this pattern before. In 2017, with the discovery of Oumuamua. In 2019, with the arrival of Borisov. Each time, the world had been surprised, intrigued, and left with more questions than answers. Now, in the year 2025, 3I Atlas joined their company. But already, in its earliest days of observation, it showed peculiarities that made it different, stranger, harder to explain. Reports were prepared with careful language, almost diplomatic in tone. Scientists described the discovery as unusual, the chemistry as uncertain, the brightness as inconsistent. The words seemed chosen to invite interest while avoiding alarm. Yet between the lines, a quiet urgency lingered. Time was short. Each night of observation was precious, for soon the object would swing closer to the sun and vanish into the glare, hiding its secrets from our instruments. Picture again the control rooms, not just in Chile now, but in Hawaii, in Europe, in South America, each alive with the quiet hum of computers and the steady voices of researchers comparing results. Data streams crossed the globe, carrying coordinates, brightness curves, spectroscopic readings. And slowly, Like a picture emerging from the darkroom of an old photograph, the shape of understanding took form. This was real. This was Interstellar. This was Three-Eye Atlas. The confirmation brought both satisfaction and wonder. Satisfaction because the methods worked. The algorithms had caught the anomaly, the instruments had held steady, the mathematics had revealed truth. Wonder because even with proof in hand, the questions multiplied. Why did its chemical signals appear so strange? Why did its flickering brightness resist prediction? Why did its path bring it so near to planets, as if tracing a grand tour of our solar system? As you imagine this process, feel the rhythm of patience. Night after night, telescopes turn, scientists wait, and the heavens yield their secrets one faint photon at a time. There is no rush, no noise, only the slow accumulation of truth. This is the heart of discovery. Not lightning bolts, but candle flames. Not sudden thunder, but the steady beat of quiet confirmation. And so, by the end of those first weeks, the truth was secure. Humanity had witnessed another interstellar visitor. And though it was faint, distant, and fleeting, its presence stirred questions larger than the instruments that had revealed it. For in its silence, in its strangeness, Three-Eye Atlas seemed less like a rock and more like a riddle, one written in the language of the stars. Once the astronomers of Earth had confirmed that Three-Eye Atlas was indeed a traveler from beyond our solar system, their attention turned from proof to understanding. Discovery was the first step. Confirmation was the second. But what truly matters is what the visitor carries within its faint light. Its chemistry, its structure, its secrets. And here, almost immediately, Three-Eye Atlas began to resist the comfort of ordinary explanation. The earliest spectroscopic readings puzzled even seasoned researchers. Through the careful separation of light into colors and patterns, scientists can read the chemistry of distant objects, as though the universe had written its ingredients into a barcode of light. Most comets show water vapor, carbon-based compounds, and traces of common metals. But Three-Eye Atlas revealed something strange. Emissions of nickel, pure and bright, yet with no corresponding trace of iron. To those who understand cosmic chemistry, this was like finding footprints in the snow with only one boot. Nickel and iron are cosmic siblings, born together in the hearts of dying stars. To see one without the other was to glimpse an absence that should not exist. As instruments continued their watch, another anomaly arose. Instead of producing clouds rich in water vapor, as most comets do when warmed by the sun, Three-Eye Atlas exhaled primarily carbon dioxide. The ratio was inverted, 8 parts carbon dioxide for every part of water. It was as if a snowman had been built of dry ice, with only a light dusting of ordinary snow on its surface. Such chemistry was not impossible, but it was so unusual that it pressed against the edges of our understanding. And there was more. The object's brightness flickered in ways that defied simple models. Comets brighten in steady rhythms as their ices turn to gas. But Three-Eye Atlas brightened and dimmed irregularly, as though something beneath its surface was controlling the release. Some nights, its glow would surge unexpectedly. On others, it would appear subdued, reluctant, restrained. Scientists began to wonder if the object was masking its core, hiding its true structure beneath a veil of gas. In conference rooms and online discussions, the language became cautious, yet tinged with fascination. Official press releases spoke of uncertainties, anomalies, and unusual ratios. Behind closed doors, researchers admitted what the data suggested. This was no ordinary comet. It was behaving in ways that were systematic, as if following instructions written not by nature, but by design. Picture again the telescopes, their mirrors gleaming beneath the cold night sky. Picture the scientists, sipping coffee in the long hours before dawn, scrolling through streams of numbers, watching graphs shift across their screens. Each new data set deepened the puzzle. Each attempt to explain one anomaly revealed another. It was as if Three-Eye Atlas had come not to reveal itself, but to invite questions, to remain forever just beyond the reach of certainty. And with each passing night, as the object drifted closer to the sun, urgency grew. Observations would soon become impossible. By late September, 3I Atlas would slip behind the glare, hidden in the brilliance of solar light, invisible to Earth. The timing seemed almost cruel, as though the universe itself had conspired to keep its secrets shrouded. So the scientists pressed on, coordinating instruments across continents, from Chile to Hawaii, from space telescopes orbiting high above to robotic cameras stationed on red Martian soil. They knew they had only weeks to gather clues. And the more they saw, the more the mystery deepened. For what natural process could strip iron from nickel? What comet could exhale more carbon dioxide than water? What body could flicker like a heartbeat, irregular, yet purposeful? These questions became the heart of the puzzle. And though answers remained elusive, the anomalies themselves were undeniable. As you imagine the stage of the story, let your own thoughts wander like those scientists, searching for patterns in the silence. Each breath you take is like the patient turning of a telescope. Each beat of your heart, like the quiet signal of a photon traveling across the void. Let yourself drift into the rhythm of their work, calm and methodical, while the mystery of 3I Atlas remains just out of reach, beckoning us deeper into the unknown. When the first reports of 3I Atlas began to circulate beyond the closed networks of observatories, the human story unfolded. For scientists, it was data, numbers to analyze, spectra to decode, orbital paths to refine. But for the rest of the world, it was wonder. Headlines spoke of a new interstellar visitor, a cosmic traveler crossing our skies. Some described it as a comet, others as a mysterious shard of another star system. And in the quiet spaces between the lines, the imagination of humanity leapt ahead to questions of origin, intention, and possibility. Within scientific communities, the response was cautious. Space agencies issued carefully worded statements. The object posed no danger, its path was stable, its perihelion was predictable. These words were meant to reassure, to keep public excitement in check. Yet behind the measured tone, resources were quietly mobilized. Time on the most powerful telescopes, precious and highly contested, was redirected toward the study of this faint visitor. The James Webb Space Telescope, orbiting high above the Earth, adjusted its gaze. Instruments on Mars orbiters were repurposed to capture fleeting data as the object swept past. Billions of dollars of technology were coordinated to study a single point of light. For the general public, the reaction was more varied. Some felt awe at the idea that something from beyond the solar system was passing so close, visible in their lifetime. Amateur astronomers pointed their backyard telescopes toward the faint smudge in the constellation of Sagittarius, eager to glimpse the same mystery that had drawn the attention of the world's largest observatories. Others, influenced by stories of Oumuamua and whispers of alien probes, wondered aloud, could this be more than stone and ice? Was humanity being watched, measured, perhaps even tested? In online forums and late-night conversations, theories blossomed. Some imagined 3I Atlas as a scout from an ancient civilization, gliding silently past our world to observe. Others saw it as a relic, a piece of technology long dead, drifting endlessly, carrying within it the ghosts of a people who had vanished millennia ago. And still others, guided by caution, reminded everyone that the universe is vast, its chemistry diverse, and that nature itself can produce phenomena stranger than fiction. Yet beneath all the speculation lay a deeper feeling, one not easily put into words: humility. To know that this traveler had crossed unimaginable distances, surviving the emptiness between stars, was to confront our smallness. It had been drifting for millions of years, long before the first humans lit fires on Earth, long before civilizations rose and fell, long before the names of gods and kings were ever spoken. And now, for a brief moment, its path intersected with ours. Then, just as quickly, it would continue on, vanishing once again into the cosmic sea. Picture the scene across the world. In classrooms, teachers point to chalkboards where the curve of its orbit is drawn. In museums, children peer through exhibits showing the icy wanderer. On rooftops, families gather with binoculars, their breath misting in the night air as they search for a faint spark against the stars. In laboratories, scientists type quietly, chasing answers they know may remain forever out of reach. In every corner, from quiet bedrooms to crowded cities, people lift their eyes and feel, if only for a moment, part of something larger than themselves. The human response was not fear, not quite, though some headlines tried to stir it. It was wonder tinged with unease, curiosity softened by humility. For in 3i Atlas, we were reminded that the cosmos is not closed, that beyond our sun lies an ocean filled with wanderers, some ordinary, some extraordinary, and perhaps some carrying whispers of intelligence. As you rest with this thought, let your mind drift. Imagine yourself among those countless eyes turned skyward, sharing in the collective hush of humanity, watching a stranger pass. Feel the unity of that moment, scattered though we are across continents, languages, and lives. The object may leave, but the memory remains. A reminder that discovery is not only about data and instruments, but about connection, wonder, and the quiet recognition that we are part of a universe far greater than we can yet understand. The nickel without iron. As the days of observation continued, astronomers began to notice something that unsettled them, not because it was dangerous, but because it was so deeply strange. Through the careful separation of light into its hidden colors, they could read the chemistry of 3i Atlas. Light became language, and that language told a story no one expected. What they found was nickel, streams of pure nickel glimmering in the data, unmistakable and undeniable. But what was missing was just as important as what was present. There was no iron. To most people, that detail might seem trivial, almost forgettable. But in the world of cosmic chemistry, nickel and iron are companions, born together in the fiery hearts of dying stars. They travel side by side, bonded by physics, scattered across planets, asteroids, and comets. To find nickel without iron is like finding a trail of footprints in fresh snow, but only from one boot. It should not happen. And yet, in the case of 3i Atlas, it did. The scientists checked their instruments. They recalibrated, repeated the observations, and sought independent verification. Different telescopes, different nights, different teams, yet the results were the same. Nickel and only nickel. Again and again, the data whispered the same improbable truth. On Earth, pure nickel without iron is not something nature produces easily. It is something that requires intention, separation, even processing. Here, the puzzle deepened. Was this anomaly a natural quirk from a region of the galaxy we have never seen before? Or could it suggest something crafted, something altered, something designed? The language of official reports grew cautious. Words like uncertain, unusual, and requires further study appeared again and again. Yet outside the measured tone of those papers, in the quiet conversations between researchers, the questions grew bolder. If this object had somehow been engineered, what purpose did such purity serve? Was the nickel part of a mechanism, a shell, or simply the result of a process beyond our understanding? Imagine now the silence of the observatories, the hum of equipment, the patient scribbling of notes in the late hours of night. Picture a researcher staring at the jagged lines of a spectrum, knowing that they are looking at something that does not belong to any catalog, any textbook, any precedent. That moment carries both awe and unease, the delicate balance between discovery and confusion. And as you rest with this thought, let your own mind drift into questions. If you stumbled upon footprints in the snow with only one shoe, would you not wonder who left them, and why? In the same way, the nickel of 3i Atlas leaves a puzzle without a clear answer. And in that absence, the imagination begins to stir. If the nickel without iron was the first whisper of strangeness, the chemistry of gases released by 3i Atlas became the second, louder echo. Most comets we have studied behave like frozen time capsules. When they draw near to the sun, the warmth awakens them, releasing water vapor in great plumes, forming shining tails that stretch across the sky. Water is the signature of a comet's life. Yet with 3I Atlas, the pattern was inverted. Instead of water, the primary exhalation was carbon dioxide. Ratios emerged in the data, and again they refused to follow the script of ordinary comets. For every single part of water vapor, there were nearly 8 parts of carbon dioxide. The imbalance was striking, almost theatrical. To describe it more plainly, imagine building a snowman not from ordinary snow, but almost entirely from dry ice, with only the thinnest dusting of real snow upon its surface. It is not impossible, but it is so unusual that it demands attention. Astronomers spoke carefully in their reports. They used terms such as unexpected, anomalous, and unprecedented. But behind these phrases lay a sense of wonder mixed with unease. Why would a body traveling between stars carry so much carbon dioxide and so little water? Was it born in a region of the galaxy where chemistry followed rules unlike those of our solar system? Or was this imbalance a sign of something deliberate, some engineered design hidden within its frozen core? The excess of carbon dioxide did more than puzzle researchers. It also created a practical obstacle. The object surrounded itself with a thick fog of this gas, a veil that blurred the instruments peering from Earth and even from space. The Hubble Space Telescope, one of the sharpest eyes ever turned toward the heavens, could only set upper limits on the size of the nucleus. The James Webb Space Telescope confirmed the overwhelming presence of carbon dioxide, but could not pierce the cloud to glimpse what lay beneath. It was as though 3I Atlas chose to hide its core behind a curtain of its own making, revealing only what it wished us to see. Picture this mystery as though you were standing by a campfire, but unable to look at the flames directly, seeing only the smoke. You know that something burns within, something driving the fire, yet your eyes are blocked, your vision blurred. That is what scientists faced as they struggled to peer through the veil of 3I Atlas. And so, night after night, data was gathered, reports were written, questions multiplied. What kind of environment could give rise to such a body? Was this the mark of alien chemistry, or the hint of alien design? No answers came, only the deepening fog of curiosity. As you settle into this thought, let your breath become as soft and steady as the rising mist. Each inhale, each exhale, like the invisible flow of gases surrounding that distant traveler. Within the quiet, let yourself wonder what truths may still be hidden, cloaked in the veil of carbon dioxide, waiting for eyes that may never fully see. The flickering brightness. As if the strange chemistry were not enough, astronomers soon noticed another riddle written in the faint glow of 3I Atlas. When comets awaken under the sun's heat, their brightness usually follows predictable patterns. They brighten as their ices sublimate, releasing gas and dust that reflect sunlight. The increase is steady, almost rhythmic, like a gentle tide responding to the pull of the moon. But 3I Atlas did not obey this rhythm. Its brightness flickered. Some nights, the object shone more strongly than expected, flaring with sudden intensity. On other nights, it dimmed, as if reluctant, holding back its light. The pattern was not chaotic, but neither was it simple. It seemed purposeful, irregular yet consistent, a pulse that defied the neat equations of cometary behavior. It was as though something within the body was controlling the release of energy, choosing when to appear brighter and when to remain subdued. For the scientists, this flickering raised troubling questions. Could the variations be explained by fragments breaking off the surface? Could uneven jets of gas account for the strange light curve? Or was there another cause, one not so easily dismissed? In hushed conversations, some dared to wonder if the brightness was a form of signal, though such speculation rarely made its way into official reports. The language of science remained restrained, filled with words like anomalous variation and requires further study. Yet the imagination of those who observed could not help but wander. Picture the scene. Astronomers hunched over monitors late into the night, watching graphs trace the light curve of the visitor. The line does not flow smoothly upward as expected, but jerks and dips like the erratic beat of an unfamiliar heart. Each flicker is a question. Each dimming is a pause. And no one can say with certainty what drives this irregular glow. To describe this mystery in simpler terms, imagine a lantern carried through the forest on a distant hill. From where you stand, you expect the light to shine steadily. But instead, it flashes at times, dims at others, as though the hand holding it has its own intentions. Perhaps the wind plays tricks, or perhaps the bearer of the lantern chooses when to reveal and when to conceal. That is how 3i Atlas appeared in the eyes of our instruments, a lantern in the cosmic dark, flickering without clear reason. For those who let their thoughts drift beyond the boundaries of ordinary science, the idea lingered. Could the flickering brightness be more than accident? Could it be the quiet rhythm of something designed, a heartbeat in the dark? No one could answer, and perhaps no one ever will. Yet the question itself became part of the mystery, a gentle reminder that not all truths are easily captured, that some are meant only to be wondered at. And so, as you rest, let your own breath match this flicker. Sometimes deeper, sometimes softer, irregular yet steady in its own way. Like the light of 3i Atlas, your breathing becomes a rhythm in the night, carrying you slowly towards sleep, even as the mystery of the flickering glow remains unsolved. The vanishing behind the sun. As the weeks of observation continued, scientists felt a growing tension. They had glimpsed chemical riddles, they had traced flickering light, and they had confirmed an interstellar origin. But then, just as the mystery deepened, the cosmos itself conspired to close the curtain. For the path of 3i Atlas carried it directly toward a rendezvous with the sun, and in that brilliance, the faint traveler would vanish from earthly eyes. The timing seemed almost deliberate. At the very moment when its nickel emissions should have been strongest, when its carbon dioxide fog might have revealed new secrets, and when its flickering brightness might have reached its most telling patterns, the object would slip into conjunction with the sun. From Earth's perspective, it would be swallowed by the glare, hidden completely for several weeks. The very star that drove its strange behavior also blinded us to its truth. To astronomers, this was more than inconvenience. It was heartbreak. Their most advanced instruments could not pierce the sun's radiance. Telescopes that had captured precious data night after night were suddenly powerless, their gaze overwhelmed by light. It was as if the stage had gone dark in the middle of the play, leaving the audience to wonder what might have happened in the missing act. Some consolation came from a different vantage point. Spacecraft orbiting Mars, equipped with instruments designed for weather and geology, were asked to watch the interstellar traveler during its hidden phase. Their data, though limited, offered glimpses that Earth could not see. Still, these observations were but fragments, pieces of a puzzle too vast to assemble. For the broader public, the vanishing act only added to the allure. News stories spoke of the object slipping behind the sun, unseen yet still present, like a magician's final trick. People wondered, what happens when no one is watching? Does the visitor continue its quiet drift? Or does it reveal something in the privacy of solar light that we were never meant to witness? Picture this moment in your mind. The sun blazing, unstoppable, its fire drowning out all other light. And somewhere, behind that brilliance, a faint traveler passes unseen, carrying its mysteries onward. It is a reminder that in astronomy, as in life, some moments escape us. No matter how hard we try, no matter how advanced our instruments, the universe keeps some secrets hidden. As you drift deeper into thought, imagine yourself standing at twilight, the sun sinking beyond the horizon. You know it is still there, though you cannot see it. In the same way, you know 3i Atlas continued its journey behind the sun, unseen but real, a riddle slipping silently beyond our grasp. And when at last it re-emerged weeks later, the window of close observation had passed. The chance to witness its most intimate behavior was gone. All that remained were the fragments we had managed to collect, and the haunting knowledge that what mattered most may have happened while no one was watching. The memory of Oumuamua. To understand why Three-Eye Atlas stirred such profound curiosity, we must look backward to the very first time humanity confirmed an interstellar visitor. It was October of the year 2017, when astronomers in Hawaii noticed a faint, fast-moving point of light crossing their surveys. They gave it a Hawaiian name, Oumuamua, meaning scout or messenger from afar arriving first. The name itself seemed like a whisper of fate, a recognition that this was not the last such traveler we would see. From the beginning, Oumuamua defied expectations. Unlike the countless asteroids and comets we had catalogued, it did not resemble the rounded or irregular shapes of rocks forged in our solar system. Instead, it appeared stretched, elongated in a way that strained our categories. Some models suggested a cigar-shaped body, perhaps 10 times longer than it was wide. Others argued it could be flat, like a vast, thin pancake drifting through space. The truth remained hidden, for even the most powerful telescopes could capture it only as a flicker of light. Then came the greater puzzle. As Oumuamua swung past the sun and began its outward journey, it began to accelerate. Not by much, but enough to be noticed. The trajectory bent slightly, the speed increased subtly, in a way that gravity alone could not explain. A comet might accelerate due to jets of gas released as its ice turned to vapor, but no tail was visible, no coma of dust surrounded it. The acceleration occurred without the ordinary signs of cometary life. It was as though an invisible hand had given it a push. This anomaly divided the scientific community. Some argued that exotic natural explanations might account for it, perhaps a fragment of hydrogen ice evaporating invisibly, or a shard of nitrogen from a distant world. Others dismissed it as coincidence, insisting there was no reason to invoke anything beyond nature. Yet a few voices spoke more boldly. Among them was Avi Loeb of Harvard University, who suggested that Oumuamua might be artificial, perhaps a fragment of alien technology, a light sail driven by starlight itself. His idea sparked debate, fascination, and controversy. Some called it visionary, others reckless. But the suggestion could not be ignored, because the data itself resisted easy dismissal. Oumuamua eventually drifted beyond our reach, fading into the dark between the stars. It left us with no definitive answers, only the memory of a shape that broke our models and a path that bent beyond our understanding. But it also left us with a new awareness, that interstellar visitors are not only possible, but inevitable, and that when they come, they may not fit neatly into the categories we expect. When Three-Eye Atlas appeared years later, scientists remembered. The echoes of Oumuamua were still fresh, the questions still unresolved. And so the new visitor was greeted not only with excitement, but also with the weight of that memory, the memory of the first messenger, the one that slipped away before we could truly know its nature. The tale of Borisov, 2019. Only 2 years after the mystery of Oumuamua, the skies delivered another visitor. This time it was August of the year 2019 when Gennady Borisov, an amateur astronomer in Crimea, pointed his homemade telescope toward the heavens. What he found would soon be confirmed as the second interstellar object ever detected, and it was named Two-Eye Borisov in his honor. Unlike Oumuamua, whose shape and behavior had defied categories, Borisov seemed at first to be reassuringly familiar. Through telescopes, observers saw the classic features of a comet: a bright coma surrounding its nucleus, and a tail streaming behind as the sun's warmth drove gas and dust into space. Its composition revealed water, carbon-based compounds, and other molecules expected of icy wanderers. Where Oumuamua had been strange, Borisov appeared almost comforting. It looked like something we knew only from another star. And yet, even in its familiarity, Borisov carried subtle reminders of the unknown. This path was undeniably hyperbolic, confirming its interstellar origin. Its chemistry, while similar to comets of our solar system, showed variations that hinted at a birthplace shaped by conditions unlike those of our sun's nursery. To scientists, Borisov was proof that the diversity of interstellar visitors could be as broad as the galaxy itself. Some might resemble what we know, while others might defy us entirely. Picture the contrast. Oumuamua, elongated and accelerating mysteriously, slipping away without a tail. Borisov, glowing with the textbook beauty of a comet, trailing gas and dust across the sky. One was a riddle wrapped in absence, the other a confirmation wrapped in familiarity. Together, they formed the beginning of a pattern, 2 points on a line suggesting that the universe would send more such travelers. For the public, Borisov was less sensational than its predecessor. It lacked the dramatic acceleration, the cigar shape that lent itself to speculation about alien sails. But for astronomers, it was just as important because it grounded the conversation. It reminded us that not every interstellar object must be strange. Some may be perfectly natural, carrying with them the icy chemistry of faraway stars. Still, the timing was remarkable. In only 2 short years, humanity had gone from never having confirmed an interstellar visitor to recognizing 2 of them. It was as if the cosmos had decided to lift the veil, to remind us that we live not in isolation, but at a crossroads of countless wanderers passing silently through. By the time Borisov left our skies, fading into the distance as surely as Oumuamua had, astronomers knew something with greater certainty. These visitors were not accidents. They were part of a larger story, one that was only beginning. And so, when 3I Atlas arrived in the year 2025, the stage had already been set. The memory of Oumuamua's strangeness and Borisov's familiarity framed the way humanity looked at this third traveler. The question was no longer whether such visitors existed, but what secrets this new one would carry. How 3I Atlas fits the pattern. When the news of 3I Atlas spread in the year 2025, scientists and dreamers alike carried in their minds the ghosts of the 2 visitors that had come before. The first, Oumuamua, was the enigma. Elongated, accelerating without reason, slipping away before it could be understood. The second, Borisov, was the reassurance. A comet that looked and behaved in ways we recognized, a bridge between our solar system and another. These 2 formed the bookends of expectation, mystery on one side, familiarity on the other. And then came 3I Atlas, and it did not rest neatly between them. It carried echoes of both, yet also carved out a category of its own. From Oumuamua, it inherited the aura of strangeness. Its chemistry refused to fit our models. Nickel without iron, carbon dioxide dominating over water, brightness flickering in unnatural ways. Each of these anomalies recalled the unsettling oddities that had made Oumuamua so provocative. And like Oumuamua, it invited whispers of speculation, questions about design and intention, as though it might be more than a mere rock drifting through the void. From Borisov, it carried the mantle of comet-like presence. It displayed a coma, albeit cloaked and strange. It followed a visible trajectory, one that could be traced and modeled. It offered data, spectra, and measurable properties, providing scientists with the raw material of study. In this way, it was less elusive than Oumuamua, which had appeared suddenly and departed just as quickly. 3I Atlas lingered long enough to be examined, to be discussed, to become the focus of international collaboration. And yet, despite these similarities, 3I Atlas stood apart. Where Oumuamua had been fleeting and Borisov familiar, this third visitor seemed to carry intention in its very strangeness. Its chemistry was not merely odd, but unprecedented. Its brightness was not just irregular, but patterned in ways that teased the human mind into seeking meaning. Its trajectory seemed almost too precise, sweeping near planets as if performing a quiet survey of our solar system. To some, it appeared as though the first 2 visitors had been preludes, And this was the main act, a visitor more challenging, more mysterious, more provocative than either of its predecessors. For the scientific community, this pattern was both exhilarating and unsettling. 3 interstellar visitors in less than a single decade. 3 opportunities to glimpse the wider galaxy. 3 reminders that the boundaries of our solar system are porous, open to travelers from beyond. But also 3 unanswered questions, each one deepening the mystery rather than resolving it. For the public, the comparisons turned speculation into story. Some imagined a sequence: the scout, the confirmation, the surveyor, a narrative of intention, as though these objects were not random wanderers, but parts of a chain, stepping stones in a larger design. Others preferred to see it as proof of diversity, evidence that the cosmos produces wanderers of all kinds, from the inexplicable to the ordinary. In either case, the presence of 3I Atlas confirmed what could no longer be denied: that we are not sealed away in a quiet corner of space. We live in a universe alive with motion, where visitors arrive without warning, carrying chemistry, questions, and perhaps even secrets from distant stars. Whether natural or intentional, whether comet or construct, 3I Atlas fit into the growing pattern not as an outlier, but as a vital piece of the puzzle. And as it continued its silent passage, the memory of the first 2 interstellar visitors seemed to hover over it like guiding stars. Together, the 3 form a constellation of mystery, one that may never yield its answers fully, but will continue to remind us that the universe is not finished surprising us. Natural explanations. Whenever scientists confront the unknown, they begin with nature. The cosmos is vast, its chemistry diverse, its processes subtle and surprising. So before reaching for the extraordinary, astronomers turned first to what might be ordinary, though rare. Could 3I Atlas be explained not as artifice, but as a product of natural forces, born in some corner of the galaxy far beyond our sight? One theory suggested that the absence of iron and the presence of nickel might result from conditions during the object's birth. In certain stellar nurseries, where dying stars shed their outer layers in violent winds, materials can separate in ways uncommon to our solar system. Perhaps 3I Atlas formed in such a region, gathering nickel without its sibling element. In this way, the anomaly would be strange but natural, a fingerprint of an alien birthplace. Others pointed to the chemistry of carbon dioxide. Our comets are rich in water, but what if another star system favored different balances? Imagine a protoplanetary disk colder than our own, where carbon dioxide ices accumulated in greater measure. In such a nursery, a comet could form with dry ice as its foundation, with water a mere trace. Such a comet would be rare in our skies, but entirely possible across the galaxy. The flickering brightness, too, might be explained by natural processes. Comets are irregular bodies, often fractured, with surfaces that release gas unevenly. Jets may erupt from cracks, spinning the object, creating bursts of brightness that come and go. The irregular glow of 3I Atlas might not be a heartbeat, but the restless breathing of a fractured body, struggling as the sun's warmth awakens its frozen heart. Even its trajectory, so precise and so provocative, might be chance. The cosmos is filled with wanderers, their paths shaped by gravity across millions of years. A dart thrown across the map of the solar system will sometimes, by pure luck, pass near several planets. Rare, yes. Improbable, yes. But not impossible. The improbable, multiplied across billions of stars and trillions of years, becomes inevitable. Picture the astronomers who prefer these explanations, their voices steady, their tone measured. They remind us that nature has a way of surprising us without invoking design. They point to volcanoes on Earth that release rare gases, to minerals that form in improbable ways, to stars whose chemistry defies expectation. They argue that in the grand theater of the universe, even the strangest performance may be natural. And so, one path of thought insists that 3I Atlas is simply a comet, though an unusual one. A fragment of another system, bearing chemistry unfamiliar to us, but not unnatural. This path offers comfort. The mystery is not a threat, but a lesson. By studying it, we expand our understanding of what the cosmos can create. As you let this idea settle, feel the calm of this perspective. There is no alarm here, only curiosity. No hidden hands, only the patient artistry of stars and ice. Perhaps 3I Atlas is nothing more than a rare jewel of nature, shining briefly as it passes through our skies, reminding us of the diversity of worlds beyond our own. The extraterrestrial probe hypothesis. Beyond the careful voices of science, there is another possibility, whispered more often in the quiet hours than in official reports. What if 3I Atlas is not merely a comet at all? What if it is a probe, a construct born not of geology but of intention, designed by minds that are not our own? The thought is both thrilling and unsettling. A visitor that has drifted for millions of years might not be a relic of chance, but an instrument of choice. Its strange chemistry, nickel without iron, carbon dioxide cloaking its core, flickering brightness that feels patterned. Could these be signatures of technology rather than anomalies of nature? If on Earth pure nickel is something we refine through industry, might the same be true for a civilization older and wiser than ours? Imagine, for a moment, that beneath the veil of gases lies a structure, layered with metals and alloys, disguised in ice and dust to resemble a comet. To our eyes, it appears natural, but to its builders, it is a machine built for endurance. A silent traveler, crossing the void between stars, carrying instruments, memories, or perhaps even messages. It would not need engines in the way we imagine. Gravity and time would be its propulsion, patience its greatest fuel. Some have pointed to the trajectory as evidence for this possibility. The odds of passing so near to multiple planets by chance are vanishingly small. Yet 3I Atlas traces a path that sweeps close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, as though sampling the architecture of our solar system. From such vantage points, a probe could measure atmospheres, magnetic fields, and even the faint radio chatter of a technological species. Was this coincidence or reconnaissance? And then there is the silence. No radio signals, no transmissions, no visible markings of artifice. But perhaps silence is the point. If the builders feared detection, they might cloak their probe in quiet. A perfect disguise. A comet that is not a comet, hiding its purpose behind chemistry that confuses but does not reveal. It would be a watcher, not a speaker. An observer, not a messenger. Picture yourself floating alongside it, the frozen gases drifting around you like a fog, the sun casting pale light across its surface. From a distance, it seems inert, lifeless, no more than stone and ice. Yet as you draw nearer, perhaps you would see patterns etched into its core, lines too regular to be chance, designs too deliberate to be nature. And perhaps in that moment you would feel the weight of being observed. Of course, no proof confirms this. Scientists remain careful, reminding us that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Yet even they cannot deny the allure of the thought. For if 3I Atlas is a probe, then it is evidence not only of life beyond Earth, but of intelligence, of technology, of civilization capable of spanning stars. It would mean we are not alone, and perhaps never have been. As you breathe gently now, let your mind wander into this possibility. A quiet envoy drifting through the dark, ancient beyond comprehension, patient beyond measure, watching us as we watch it, silent, enduring, enigmatic. Whether truth or dream, the thought itself is enough to carry us deeper into wonder, deeper into sleep. The dark forest hypothesis. There is one final possibility, more haunting than any other. It does not speak of geology, nor even of engineering, but of survival. It is called the dark forest hypothesis. Imagine the universe as a vast, silent forest at night. Each civilization is a hunter moving quietly among the trees. Each one carries a light, a fire, or a voice, But to reveal yourself in this forest is to risk being seen by others who may not wish you well. And so, most remain silent, hiding in the dark, moving softly, listening always. In this vision, silence is not an accident, but a strategy. It is the way civilizations endure in a cosmos where trust cannot be assumed. To remain invisible is to remain alive. And what better way to observe another world than to send a probe disguised as something natural, something unremarkable? A comet cloaked in gases, carrying no signals, speaking no words, just drifting, watching, recording. If such probes exist, they would not declare themselves. They would hide in plain sight, their very strangeness serving as a veil. 3I Atlas, with its improbable path and puzzling chemistry, seems almost made for this story. The silence could be camouflage, its anomalies the mask of design, its timing a coincidence too neat to ignore, arriving when human instruments are advanced enough to notice, yet still too limited to pierce its secrets. In the dark forest of the galaxy, perhaps we have glimpsed a hunter's lantern, faint and flickering, but never meant to burn brightly. Consider what this means for us. If the universe is such a forest, then humanity is a new traveler, young and reckless, carrying torches of radio waves, shining signals into the dark. We have shouted our presence across the stars, unaware of who might be listening. 3I Atlas, if it is indeed a probe, might represent those who have chosen the opposite path. Quiet, cautious, enduring. Its mission may not be to contact, but to measure. Not to announce, but to assess. Picture this thought as you drift further into stillness. The galaxy around you becomes a forest of endless night. In the distance, lights flicker faintly, then vanish. Footsteps crunch on unseen paths. You hold your breath, listening, wondering who else might walk here. This is the vision of the dark forest, a place where survival means silence, and silence itself is the message. No proof confirms this, only speculation, only the echo of unease that comes when we confront the unknown. Yet even in its fear, the dark forest hypothesis carries a strange beauty. It reminds us that intelligence may exist beyond Earth, but it may be cautious, careful, shaped by the same desire for survival that guides us. And so, in the quiet glow of 3I Atlas, we may see not only mystery, but a mirror, one that reflects what we too may become. As you rest with this thought, let your breathing match the silence of that forest. Each inhale a step, each exhale a pause, until the rhythm of your body becomes part of the hush. The dark forest surrounds you, vast and unknowable, but you are safe here, drifting in curiosity and calm. Whether or not 3I Atlas is truly a probe, the question itself invites us into wonder. And wonder is enough to guide us gently into sleep. Human meaning and sleep philosophy. When we pause to reflect on 3I Atlas, the third visitor ever known to come from beyond our solar system, the question that lingers is not only what is it, but what does it mean for us? Whether comet or construct, natural or intentional, its presence in our skies reminds us of truths larger than data, larger than discovery. It reminds us that we live in a universe vast beyond imagining, where silence itself may carry meaning, and where our own place is fragile, fleeting, yet deeply connected to the whole. Consider the span of its journey. 3I Atlas has drifted through interstellar space for millions of years. Long before the first humans shaped stone into tools, long before ancient civilizations etched their stories on walls, long before even our sun reached maturity, this traveler was already moving through the dark. This timescale dwarfs our history, and yet, for one brief moment, its path crossed ours. In the immensity of the cosmos, that crossing is astonishing. It is as though the ocean itself sent a single wave to touch our shore, reminding us that we are part of something endless. From such perspective comes humility. Our species has existed for only a heartbeat of cosmic time. Our technologies, though wondrous to us, are fragile compared to the scale of stars. We build telescopes and launch spacecraft, and yet most of the universe remains hidden, silent, unknowable. To see an interstellar object is to glimpse that vastness, to recognize how much lies beyond our grasp. And in that recognition comes a strange peace. It is not our task to know everything, but to wonder. Perhaps that is the deeper gift of Three-Eye Atlas. It does not speak. It does not reveal itself fully. Passes silently, leaving questions without answers. And yet, in its silence, it awakens something within us. The ability to marvel, to dream, to imagine that we are not alone. Whether it is natural or artificial matters less than the way it moves our minds and hearts. In its presence, we are reminded that mystery itself is valuable, that the unknown is not an enemy, but a companion to our journey. As you listen now, let your own thoughts stretch outward. Picture yourself beneath the night sky, breathing slowly, each inhale deep, each exhale soft. Above you, countless stars scatter their light, each one a sun, each one perhaps with its own planets, its own mysteries, its own stories unfolding unseen. In that sky, Three-Eye Atlas drifts quietly, unnoticed by most, yet deeply meaningful to those who know it is there. Its silence is not emptiness, but invitation. In philosophy, there is a thought that to wonder is to live twice, once in the world as it is and once in the world as it might be. Tonight, as we wonder about Three-Eye Atlas, we live twice. Once in the certainty of data, its speed, its path, its chemistry. And once in the realm of imagination, its possible design, its possible mission, its possible meaning. Both are real. Both shape us. Both remind us that to be human is to walk always between knowledge and mystery. And so, as you rest, know that you are part of this larger story. You are a being of a small world, circling a medium star, yet capable of looking outward, of noticing a faint traveler and asking what it might mean. That ability to ask is itself extraordinary. It connects you not only to scientists across the world, but to the long chain of humanity that has always looked upward, from the first fires to the most advanced telescopes. Let your breath steady, let your body soften. Allow the mystery of Three-Eye Atlas to cradle you, not as a puzzle to be solved, but as a gentle reminder of the vastness you are part of. Whether alien probe or cosmic snowball, its meaning is the same. The universe is alive with wonders, and you are one of them. There is a quiet lesson hidden in the silence of Three-Eye Atlas. It reminds us that the universe is not obliged to explain itself to us. Sometimes what we see are fragments, partial truths, glimpses through a veil. The human mind longs for clarity, for answers tied neatly with certainty. Yet what we often receive are questions, open-ended and unresolved. And in that tension between what we know and what we do not, there lies a profound invitation. To accept mystery as part of life, not something to fear, but something to cherish. Think of how our ancestors once gazed upon the night sky. To them, the stars were gods, spirits, or ancestors watching from above. They invented stories to explain the patterns of constellations, weaving myths of hunters and maidens, lions and dragons. Those stories gave shape to the unknown, transforming fear into meaning. In much the same way, we now weave scientific narratives. Instead of myths, we speak of orbits, chemistry, and interstellar space. But beneath both lies the same impulse: the need to find wonder in the dark, to soften the silence with imagination. Three-Eye Atlas, in its brief crossing of our skies, calls us into that lineage. It does not matter whether we see it as comet, probe, or omen. What matters is that it awakens in us the very same wonder that guided those ancient stargazers. In its passing, it unites us with every generation that has looked upward and asked, "What lies beyond?" Now consider another perspective. In our daily lives, we often feel the press of urgency, the pace of work, the noise of cities, the endless flow of information. Yet in cosmic time, all of that rush fades to nothing. Three-Eye Atlas has been moving through space for millions of years, at speeds beyond our comprehension, and yet its journey is patient. It drifts, silent, unhurried, In its company, we are reminded that not everything requires speed. Some truths arrive slowly, across millennia, across light years. To breathe with this thought is to step out of the rush of human life and into the calm rhythm of the cosmos itself. There is also comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our smallness. Every human who has ever lived has looked up at the same sky, puzzled by the same mysteries. You share this curiosity with ancient astronomers, with poets, with children lying on grass fields watching stars twinkle. To recognize that shared wonder is to feel connection, even across centuries. 3i Atlas becomes not just a visitor from beyond, but a thread that ties us together as a species, reminding us of our common gaze. And finally, there is the lesson of humility. If 3i Atlas is natural, it teaches us that nature is richer, more inventive, more surprising than we imagine. If it is artificial, it teaches us that we may not be the first, nor the only, to walk the path of intelligence. In either case, our role is the same: to wonder, to imagine, and to continue the gentle pursuit of knowledge, not with arrogance, but with reverence. As you breathe now, let your breath become a part of this rhythm. Inhale as though drawing in starlight, exhale as though releasing questions into the night. With each cycle, allow your body to soften, your thoughts to ease. The mysteries of the cosmos are not burdens, but lullabies, gentle songs of wonder that cradle us toward rest. So close your eyes and imagine. Beyond the horizon, beyond the sun, beyond the reach of our instruments, countless other travelers drift, each carrying their own secrets. Perhaps one day we will understand them, perhaps not. But tonight, all that is asked of you is to listen to the silence, to let the unknown be enough, and to drift peacefully into the vast dream of the universe. And so, as our journey with 3i Atlas draws to a close, we are left not with certainties, but with wonder. We have traced its path from the first faint shimmer detected in mountain observatories, through the puzzles of its strange chemistry, its flickering light, and its vanishing behind the sun. We have compared it to the visitors who came before, Oumuamua and Borisov, and we have wandered through theories that stretched from the natural to the extraordinary. Each step has deepened the mystery rather than resolved it. Perhaps that is the true gift of this traveler. Not answers, but questions. Not conclusions, but reminders. It reminds us that we are small in a vast cosmos, yet capable of noticing the faintest signals from beyond. It reminds us that silence itself can be meaningful, that sometimes what is not said is as powerful as what is revealed. And it reminds us that wonder is a form of wisdom, one that soothes the mind even as it awakens the heart. Whether 3i Atlas is a comet, a relic, or a probe, it remains a silent visitor from another world. It entered our skies quietly, and it will leave the same way, slipping into the darkness, never to return. But its passage will linger in us. For a moment, we were reminded that the universe is not empty, that it is alive with travelers and mysteries, and that we, too, are part of this endless story. As you drift into sleep, let that thought be your companion. You are a being of a fragile planet, yet your imagination spans light years. You lie beneath the stars, yet within you is the same curiosity that drives telescopes to scan the heavens. You are both small and vast, fleeting and eternal, a question still unfolding. So close your eyes now, and let the silence of the cosmos carry you. Let the mystery of 3i Atlas fade into the background, like a lullaby sung by the stars themselves. And remember, as you rest, the universe is vast, mysterious, and still unfolding. Tomorrow and the next tomorrow there will be more wonders waiting. For tonight, let the questions cradle you, and let the night sky hold you gently until morning comes.